so good. You guys don't even understand. Yours looks good too. Is that butter?
Mm-hmm.
You can't eat that.
I'm not going to. All right, so I have a lot of food requirements, as in foods I can't eat. I'm a little nervous for Nicole because she can eat anywhere at any time, and we're gonna have to be very picky about where we eat. So always is gluten and dairy. Those are food allergies. Currently on the no-eat list is yeast, grains, which include rice, all forms of sugar, including cane, corn syrup, molasses, maple syrup, and coconut sugar. Don't forget no starchy veg, aka potatoes. That's a very sad day. High sugar fruits, including all tropical fruits like bananas and pineapples. I also can't have red apples. However, that's very difficult to eat when I'm at home. So while I'm traveling, it will just be gluten and dairy. I also take a lot of supplements. I don't think Nicole knows how many supplements, and I'm actually paring it down to the necessities, but I do take a lot of pills.
I told your mom I would try to bring you back in one piece. Yeah. Don't die on me the first day.
I won't die on you.
Look at all these. Oh, I know, right? So anyway, I think when you walk along the side, or in the front, right here, there's all these stained glass windows. So like when the sun's setting, it just glows. Oh, there's a little
Son of Iceland.
Son of Iceland. But it's a gift from the United States of America on the 1000th anniversary of the Althing, whatever. I think it's like their first parliamentary thing. Unveiled in Reykjavík on July 17, 1932, the statue of Leif Erikson stands in front of Hallgrímskirkja Church, one of Reykjavík's most iconic landmarks. The figure is made of bronze, and the pedestal is carved from Texas red granite and is about 15 feet high. The base is designed to resemble the prow of a Viking ship, symbolizing Leif's voyages. The statue was sculpted by Alexander Sterling Calder, an American artist, and was made between 1929 and 1932. The statue was a gift from the United States to Iceland, as I said, commemorating the 1,000-year anniversary of the Althing, Iceland's parliament, which was founded in 930 AD. Icelanders view the gift as recognition by the U.S. of Leif Erikson's Icelandic identity, a point of national pride. The statue also represents the cultural and historic ties between Iceland and the United States. A second casting of this statue was made for the 1939 New York World's Fair. That second casting now stands at the Mariners Museum and Park in Newport News, Virginia, and the plaster model of the statue is held by the Smithsonian Institution. Leif Erikson is famously believed to be among the first Europeans to reach North America, long before Columbus. For Iceland, the statue is not just about exploration, it's also a symbol of national identity and pride in the Viking-era heritage. Positioned in front of Hallgrímskirkja, which itself is a major tourist draw, the statue is a popular spot for visitors. Reykjavik is known for its vibrant and ever-changing street art, with more than 160 murals and public artworks spread across the city. The downtown core, especially around Laugaveggur, if I'm saying that correct, the main shopping street in Reykjavik, and its nearby streets, is filled with colorful, playful pieces, while the harbor and industrial areas feature larger, often more dramatic murals. Artists like Sarah Riel bring surreal, nature-inspired imagery, and Guido von Helten is known for his striking monochrome portraits. Many works were created through collaborations, such as the Wall Poetry Project, tied to Iceland Airwaves, which helped elevate street art into a defining feature of Reykjavik's urban identity. The art changes frequently, giving the city a dynamic, open-air gallery feel that blends creativity, culture, and Icelandic character. And I feel like you can't talk about the outdoor art in Reykjavik without talking about, oh, I'm absolutely going to butcher this, Skólavörðustígur. I'll put it in writing in the video. More commonly known as Rainbow Street. This is a pedestrian street in the heart of Reykjavik, connecting the main shopping street, Laugaveggur, to the landmark Hallgrímskirkja Church. The street was painted in rainbow colors in 2015 to celebrate Reykjavik pride, as a visible sign of support for diversity, inclusion, and the city's LGBTQ+ community. What began as a temporary installation became so loved by locals and visitors that the colors have stayed, making Rainbow Street a permanent and iconic feature of Reykjavik's landscape. Today, it's more than just a colorful pavement. It's a lively part of downtown Reykjavik, lined with shops, cafes, galleries, and often bustling with pedestrians. The Hand Knitting Association of Iceland was founded in 1977 and was created by local knitters, mostly women, who wanted to sell handmade wool garments and maintain Iceland's knitting traditions. Laura was particularly excited to visit the store because she was determined to buy herself a sweater before we got on the horses and went for a ride, so that she would have something warm to wear during our horse safari. This group is best known for producing authentic lopapeysa sweaters, all hand-knitted in Iceland from the wool of Icelandic sheep. Their flagship shop on, I'm not saying this again, it'll be up above, you can read it for yourself, in Reykjavík, has become a popular stop for visitors looking for genuine Icelandic craftsmanship. Beyond sweaters, they sell hats, mittens, scarves, and wool for knitting. Laura decided that she was going to wait until our return trip to Reykjavík to stock up on her wool, though, so she didn't fill up her bag prior to heading out to the farm. The association plays an important cultural role in preserving traditional techniques and supporting local makers. Reminiscent of my 2022 trip to Iceland, Laura and I found ourselves exploring the Museum of Iceland right as jet lag was setting in. In fact, in 2022, this is how far I made it before I realized that my theory of as long as I was standing I couldn't fall asleep might prove to be false. I almost face planted right here on these tiles trying to stay awake because I had red-eyed flight out to Iceland and didn't sleep on the plane, of which I proceeded to do again on this trip. Red-eye flight, no sleep, and here we are, learning about Iceland's history. The city of Reykjavík offers numerous different museums for options to visit on your trip. We had chosen the National Museum of Iceland, which offers a sweeping overview of Iceland's history, from the settlement era through to modern times, and houses over 2,000 artifacts, including Viking Age items, medieval manuscripts, religious artifacts, and is a must-see visit if you want to understand Icelandic culture, history, and how the country evolved through centuries. Other museum of interest might be the Reykjavík Maritime Museum, which focuses on Iceland's maritime history, fishing, seafaring, and the development of the harbor and more. It includes the former Coast Guard vessel, Odin, moored next to the museum, where visitors can tour the ship. It's great if you're interested in how the sea shaped Iceland's economy, culture, and daily life. Regarding nature, science, and the environment, you might be interested in checking out Perlin, a mix of science, environment, and immersive experiences. This is not a traditional museum, but one of the best places in Reykjavík to learn about Iceland's geology, nature, and climate. It features a real ice cave, a planetarium with a Northern Lights show, interactive exhibits on glaciers, volcanoes, water, and more. It also offers panoramic views over Reykjavík from the dome's observation deck, a fun, educational, and scenic experience, especially if you like nature and science rather than classic history. Whales of Iceland is dedicated to cetaceans, displays life-size models of 23 whale species plus bones, baleen, interactive exhibits about whale biology, migration, conservation, and is often described as Europe's largest whale exhibition. When it comes to art and culture, you might check out the Reykjavík Art Museum. There's 3 different venues, and it's the largest art museum in Iceland. It's ideal if you enjoy visual arts and want to see how Icelandic identity and landscape influence creativity. It's also good to contrast with museums about history or nature. When it comes to quirkiness, one museum in Iceland takes the prize, and that would be the Icelandic Philological Museum, a museum that claims to be the world's only museum dedicated to penises and penile artifacts. Yes, you heard that correctly. Its collection includes hundreds of specimens, parts from a wide variety of mammal species, both land and sea animals, including whales, seals, and land mammals. These specimens are preserved and exhibited for scientific, anatomical, and cultural interest. The museum aims to approach the subject from a scientific, comparative anatomy perspective. And I don't have high hopes, but I am secretly hoping that I can convince Laura to go there to go to the gift shop, because when I was in Australia, I got my uncle a pair of kangaroo balls on a keychain as a gag gift, and I feel like I could find an even funnier one at this gift store, but we'll see. But enough about museums. Laura and I were about to experience our own cultural moment because it was time for lunch, and so we hit up Cafe Loki, which is right across from Hallgrímskirkja, and we tried their Icelandic lamb soup. Lamb soup is one of the country's oldest traditional dishes, dating back to the early settlement era over 1,000 years ago. It developed as a practical, hearty meal for farmers and shepherds who relied on Iceland's free-roaming sheep for both meat and wool. The soup was originally very simple, just lamb, root vegetables, and herbs, because ingredients were limited in Iceland's harsh climate. Over time, families adapted it with barley, potatoes, and more vegetables, but the recipe has remained rustic and unchanged in spirit. Today, it's considered a national comfort food and a symbol of Icelandic home cooking and hospitality. And more importantly, Laura could eat it. one in Iceland.
Day
How we
one.
doing?
I'm so tired. I think I've slept for an hour in the last 24 hours.
Likewise.
I'm
Yeah.
not really with it.
And it's a little windy. I'm wondering if they sell goggles because I don't want to ride a horse in this at all. Harpa Concert Hall in Reykjavík opened in 2011 as one of Iceland's most significant cultural projects, designed by the Danish firm Henning Larsen Architects with Icelandic artist Olafur Eliasson, creating its distinct shimmering glass facade. Harpa was originally planned before Iceland's 2008 financial crisis, and construction was halted during the crash, but was restarted with government support, making the building a symbol of national resilience. Since opening, Harpa has become home to the Icelandic Symphony Orchestra and Icelandic Opera, and a major venue for concerts, festivals, conferences, and cultural events. Its award-winning architecture and waterfront location have made it one of Reykjavik's most iconic landmarks. Reykjavik's Old Harbor is one of the city's most historic and atmospheric areas, playing a central role in its development from a small fishing village to Iceland's capital. The Old Harbor was built in the early 1900s as Reykjavik became Iceland's main fishing and trading hub. For decades, it was the heart of the nation's fishing fleet, bustling with trawlers, fish processing houses, and merchants. As the fishing industry modernized and moved to newer facilities, the area shifted from an industrial zone to a lively cultural and tourism district. Today, the Old Harbor is known for its colorful historic buildings, whale watching and puffin tour departures, museums like the Reykjavik Maritime Museum, and a growing cluster of cafes, design shops, and seafood restaurants. It remains a symbol of Reykjavik's maritime roots while serving as one of its most vibrant waterfront neighborhoods. We had made it pretty far in checking off all the items on clue number 2. The only thing we hadn't done was buy a book and see the Sun Voyager. But fortunately, I was in Iceland in 2022, so I can help you with the last one. The Sun Voyager is a stainless steel sculpture by Icelandic artist Jon Gunnar Arnason. Though it may resemble a Viking ship, it was not meant to depict a historical vessel. Instead, it's an abstract vision of a dreamboat sailing toward the sun, representing dreams, progress, and the human spirit's drive to explore. The design won a competition celebrating Reykjavik's 200th anniversary, and the full sculpture was unveiled on August 18, 1990. The sculpture sits along the coastal road, Seabraut by the sea, a short walk from the city center and the Harpa Concert Hall. It looks out over the bay, with views of Mount Esja on the horizon, and is especially beautiful at sunrise or sunset. Iceland's Christmas book tradition, which of course comes with a very Icelandic name, which means the Christmas book flood, is one of the country's most beloved holiday customs and a core part of Icelandic culture. It's why I made our clue card requirement to buy a book for a book lover for a Christmas gift, because I was giving a nod to one of my favorite traditions that I've read about in Iceland as a book lover myself. Last time I was in Iceland, I tried to find a copy of Tom Sawyer or any sort of Mark Twain book in Icelandic for my friend Randy, and I was unable to do so. I don't have high hopes on this trip, but I'm going to keep looking for round 2. Every year, in the weeks leading up to Christmas, Iceland experiences a massive surge in book publishing, buying, and gifting. New titles are released in a concentrated burst, and books become the most common Christmas gift. On Christmas Eve, families traditionally exchange books and then spend the night reading, often with hot chocolate, cocoa, or, of course, another Icelandic word that means Christmas bread. Jólabrauð, maybe? We'll see how we do. Anyway, the tradition dates back to World War II, when many imported goods were scarce. However, paper was relatively cheap and accessible in Iceland, making books one of the easiest gifts to produce and buy. As a result, books became the go-to Christmas present, and the pattern stuck. The tradition became even more organized in 1944 with the launch of I'm not saying that word, but it's a catalog sent to every household listing all new books published that year. This catalog still arrives each autumn and marks the unofficial start of Jólabókaflóðið. I don't know if that's how you say it. But Iceland has a deep literary heritage, from medieval sagas to modern authors, and this custom reinforces the country's identity as a nation of readers and storytellers. The Christmas book flood supports local publishers, boosts authors, and keeps reading at the heart of Icelandic life. I love that. This cherished Icelandic holiday tradition, where books are the main Christmas gift, publishers release their biggest wave of titles, and families cozy up together on Christmas Eve to read, it's a warm, cultural, and uniquely Icelandic tradition.